Inductee, Coach Larry "Pod" Patterson. Larry "Pod" Patterson was born in Birmingham, Alabama on December 16, 1944 to Mid and Mattie Lee Patterson. Mid had been a semi-pro baseball player in Rome, Georgia. The Patterson family, which included an older brother Rick, moved to Cleveland in Blount County when Pod was 1 year old. At Cleveland High School, Pod started playing football, basketball, and baseball when he entered the 7th grade. He also started playing with the men's independent baseball team at 13. His dad was the manager of the team. As a player at CHS, Pod was a great team leader and excelled as the quarterback in football and point guard in basketball, earning All-County and All-District in basketball and All-County in football as a junior and senior. Football proved to be his best sport. He is shown here with legendary Alabama High School Sports Hall of Fame coach Hugh O'Shields. Pod led the 1961 Panthers to an undefeated 8-0-2 record and was selected to both the Birmingham Post-Herald and Birmingham News AA Honorable Mention All-State team. Coach O'Shields was named the State Coach of the Year. Both ties that year came against Aniana, 6-6 in the regular season and 12-12 in Blount County's famous Tomato Bowl game. Pod was selected as co-MVP of that game along with the Redskins' Jim Kirkland. Following graduation in 1962, Pod took his talents to Jacksonville State Teachers College, now JSU, playing football for legendary coach Don Sauls and baseball for Marshall County Sports Hall of Fame coach Ray "Dirty" Wedgeworth. In 1965, after 3 years at JSTC, Patterson was offered a job as the head football and basketball coach at Blanche High School in Lincoln County, Tennessee. Pod got an emergency teaching certificate and took the job. His football team's record was not indicative of his future success, going 2-13-1 in 2 years. However, his basketball teams fared much better, with a 38-10 record. Pod did have one very important highlight in 1965 when he took his Blanche High School football team, which included 2 African-American players, to play Clements High School. The game was played on August 13, 1965, and gained notoriety as the first ever integrated football game in the state of Alabama. In 1967, Susan Moore High School hired Coach Patterson to be their head football coach. Pod not only returned home to Blount County, but also returned to JSU to complete his bachelor's and master's degrees. In his first year at Susan Moore High School, the team went 1-8-1. But in 1968, the Bulldogs went 8-2. In his 3rd year at Susan Moore, the team went 10-0 in the regular season and earned the school's first ever appearance in the state AA football playoffs, losing in the semifinals. This began a string of 10 consecutive winning seasons for the Bulldogs, including a school record 11 wins in 1975 and 12 wins in 1977. In that same year, Susan Moore had its first 2 college football signees ever, as Wendell Hathorne and Lee Long signed with Florence State Teachers College, now the University of North Alabama. In 1970, the Dogs played Addison in the AA State Championship game, but lost 15-7 in a hard-fought game. Pod would go on to coach 22 years at Susan Moore with a 168, 71-3 record, 3 undefeated regular season 10-0 records, and 12 playoff appearances. Their major rival was the always tough Aniana Redskins, coached by his high school coach, Hugh O'Shields. Pod also coached in the AHSAA All-Star Game in 1970, was Blount County Coach of the Year 10 times, and the State AA Coach of the Year in 1977. During his tenure at Susan Moore, he also served as the 1984-85 president of the AHSAA Coaches Association. AHSAA Executive Director Herman "Bubba" Scott credits Patterson with a major role in planning and implementing the Coaches Award Banquet that is part of the AHSAA All-Star Week. In 1989, Pod left his home in Blount County when Class 6A Arab High School offered Pod the job as AHS head football coach and athletic director. He coached the Knights from 1989 to 1994, and his teams had an overall 41-22 record. Pod's first staff included current Albertville High School head coach Joel Poole, Joey Bunch, Kerry Thompson, and Steve Street. On October 27, 1993, Arab was also ranked in the 6A top 10 for the first time in school history. They also won 2 Marshall County championships. Pod's Knights also had 3 state playoff appearances, another first in the school's history. Another staff included Jeff Gibbs, Thompson, and Marshall County Sports Hall of Fame board member Sherrill Dollar. In 1993, Patterson won his 200th game when the Knights beat Guntersville 20-10. It was the Knights' first win over the county rival since 1989. Larry Pod Patterson retired in 1994 after 28 years in Alabama with a 209, 93, and 2 record. In 1997, he was inducted into both the inaugural class of the Blount County Sports Hall of Fame and the 7th class of the Alabama High School Sports Hall of Fame. In 2006, Susan Moore High School named their football field the Larry Pod Patterson Field. Pod married Becky Black of Aniana in 1971, and the couple has 2 sons, Matthew on the right and Wesley on the left, who became fixtures at the Knights Stadium. Pod says that he has enjoyed his retirement time watching his boys play ball and grow into productive adults. Both are now coaches, Matt at Bibb County High School and Wes at Arab High School. Ladies and gentlemen, 2013 inductee, Coach Pod Patterson.